Hello friends. So today we are going to deal with the pre-classical school of criminology. So if we talk about the pre-classical school of criminology, it started in early 17th century, late 17th century and early 18th century. At that time there was a major dominance of the religious or spiritual things. Means people mainly believe in religious activities or spiritual things. So at that time if a person commits any crime, so it was believed that this crime has not been committed by that person, but that person is in possession with some external force like demon or devil, and that demon and devil controls that person and convinces him to commit crime. And the only thing that they can do with that person is to give him immense pain, so that, and they justify this act by saying that they are not giving this pain to that person, they are giving this pain to that spirit so that he leave that body. So at that time, this is the reason this is pre-classical school of criminology is also called as demonological school of criminology. And at that time, though, to prove the innocence or guilt of that person, there are many ordeals, worships, sacrifices were done. So to make the person relief from that evil influence. There are some characteristics of pre-classical school, like at that time the laws were not codified. There were arbitrary and corrupt system of law. Means if we talk about today's era, there are IPC. If someone has committed some particular offense or specific offense, there is some in uh, in contrast of that, there is punishment mentioned in the IPC. But in pre-classical school there is no codified laws, so the laws were arbitrary, the laws were vague, and the accusations were secret. There is there is no open trial, people are not allowed to see the trial procedure. So these accusations were secret and the corruption was rampant. And if the person, if the offender confesses something, that is that the person is been tortured with many the person is being tortured. So and for the major of the crime there was death penalty. And already I have told that they believe, they justify their act by saying that they are not actually giving pain to that person, they are giving pain and torture to the evil spirit. And also there was oaths and ordeals to decide the guilt or innocence of the offender. So here we are going to discuss about the conditions of two European countries, that is France and England. What kind of punishments were given to the people or to the offender during that time. So first of all we will discuss about the conditions in France. So in France again the decisions were secret, that was not open to the people, the decisions were secret. And the judges has the discretionary power, they don't have any restriction that okay they have to limit their things. If they want, they can give anyone death penalty. And this defendant has no right of defense of trial. And these punishments were decided by the secret tribunal. and, and if we talk about the punishment or torture, that is different from place to place in France. So we will discuss about some punishments also. This first punishment is like quartering. So quartering is the most barbarous nature of punishment. So it is given in two phases. Like in preliminary phase, the person's limbs are burnt in front of him, and then his limbs are tied with four horses in different direction, and these horses are then instigated or tickled so that they started running in opposite direction, which leads to ripping off limbs from the torso of that offender. This is the most means horrible torture, this is the most barbarous punishment that anyone can get. Then comes to the second punishment. There is this defendant is then tied to a chair, and then this chair is then moved closer and closer to a burning furnace. So the main aim is not to um make the offender die, but to give him the torture to at its peak. In the next in the next punishment, this defendant is made to wear high spongy leather boots, and he is tied to a table so that he cannot move his body. And then in his boots they pour boiling water, hot boiling water, so that the person can cry in pain but cannot move or cannot do anything. In the next type of punishment, they they make the person half naked and tie his hands behind him with the ring between them, and they then give a weight to his feet, weight in his feet. If the crime is not serious in nature, that is, then the weight is around 180 pounds. If the crime is serious in nature, then this weight is increased up to 250 pounds, and then sudden jerks are given to the offender, which leads to distortion of his limbs. And the next punishment, this offender is stretched again. Here also, this the main aim is to torture the person. So there was a doctor and a surgeon standing by to check the pulse. If the offender is not able to bear the pain, and, then they give 1 or 2 minutes rest to that person. And again, if they see that okay, the person has is now in normal condition, then again they started stretching their body. Then, so this kind of barbarous punishments were given in France. Now let us see what are the conditions in England. Again here, the judicial system is severe and corrupt. For justice here means an animal who for half a dozen chicken would dispense with a dozen of laws. Means this kind of corruption is there. And monarch can remove judges at his or her own pleasure. Monarch is here the king. So king has the power to remove judges at his or her own pleasure, and judges have the power to give punishment to the offenders. So laws were very weak, and punishments were so severe that for around 200 offenses there was capital punishment. Means even if it is a petty offense, they don't say if it is a petty offense or if it is a serious offense, but the punishments were majorly for capital punishments. And the main thing, the main crime, the major heinous crime they thought of is of treason. Treason means when you do something against state. So but here in England, at the pre-classical school era, their treason they think as anything that can endanger the life of the king or monarch. So the punishment for treason was that accused is brought to the star chamber. There they interrogated and then do torture to him. Capital punishment was provided for over 200 offenses, and these criminal laws relied on deterrence factor. Means to give the person that much level of torture so that there will be a fear amongst the people, that they don't have to they will not commit such kind of crimes in future. And for minor offenses there were also some punishments were there, like pillorying, burning up hole in the tongue or ears. So these kinds of punishments were given for minor offenses. And women who were convicted of murdering their husbands or of treason, they were burned alive. And for the men, if they are convicted of treason, so they are hanged at gallows, and their bowels means intestine, their bowels are removed, and their body is left open. Sorry, and they are burned in front of them, beheaded, and their bodies are quartered, means cut into pieces, and they that is left open for birds to eat. And they think as that if birds will eat his body, he will be become pious or pure again. He has at least done something good for people. And this is kind of fair. They people celebrate and sing ballads. It is an open, this thing is open to all. Matlab, everyone can see that person is hanged in gallows. So this kind of punishment is open. So that's it. I hope I am able to make you understand about what all things, what all are punishments, what is the condition during pre-classical school of criminology. And so yes, if you like my video, then gives it's a big thumbs up.